Alrighty, welcome into the Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave, cavetalkradio.com and the Cave Talk Radio app. It is, of course, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, Facebook and YouTube Live. Great to have you aboard, Gary Ayd and Rich Anselmo. And it is time for the opening rant. We got a lot of other stuff to get to, of course, today as well. Question of the day, our NFL picks for playoff weekend. And, of course, we'll have the top 5 news you can use, all the normal favorites you love and expect from the Gary Ayd Show. But right now, opening rant. This is an easy one, Rich. I know right where I'm going here. Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto. Robo-umps are the new thing in minor league baseball. All games, all day, every day.
Oh, no.
I hope you like it. I hope you like the Jetsons, because that's what you're about to get. Robos everywhere, baby. You like self-checkout at Walmart? Well, here's the baseball version of it. AAA, going robo-umps for balls and strikes.
I don't like self-checkouts anywhere.
I know, but I don't think anyone does.
But the fact that they only have one cashier on a line of 90 people, they become necessary.
Yeah, well,
robo-umps, however, are never necessary.
Yeah, no, they're never necessary. And self-checkout's not necessary either. You just hire a couple cashiers. It's simple as that. That was a self-created necessity. It wasn't a market-created necessity. But
well, that affects the bottom line.
Oh, not really. I mean,
it's all about the bottom line.
Yeah, I mean, but it doesn't really affect the bottom line at all. I would venture a guess it probably hurts it because there's less people going there. I haven't shopped at Walmart in 4 years, as an example, specifically for this reason. And I know I'm not the only one that has done that. One of our listeners, Eric, was telling me the same thing. He's an electrician locally, and he doesn't go to Walmart either for that reason. So there's got to be a lot of us. But anyway, as far as the robo-umps are concerned, look, this is why I will never, ever criticize, talk about, or consider officials in any way, shape, or form doing sports talk radio, because the never-ending chorus of criticizing and Monday morning quarterbacking every and all call in all of humanity with every replay on the planet is an absolute guarantee to get more of this, not less. This is the whole reason we have this. There's no other reason for it. It's because of people calling into talk radio for 30 years complaining about it. It's because of talk radio hosts trying to pretend that they know what they're talking about with this more than some might actually know. A lot don't, but it doesn't matter if they know or not. It's not, talk radio is not about facts. It's about conversation and opinion and personality. But the bottom line is, you can speak things into existence in this universe. And we as a sports populace have done that with this. And now a lot of the same people, some aren't, some people actually like this. But I know there's crazy people in the world. So there you go. But a lot of people don't. But a lot of the people that are claiming they don't like this are the same ones who've been claiming every day for 100 years. They've been complaining about the refs. This is why I don't, because this is what you get from doing that. See, complaining only accomplishes one thing, and only eventually gets rid of or changes the thing you're complaining about if enough people complain about it for a long enough period of time. So it goes with the careful what you wish for story, because now this is what's going to happen. I mean, I can already tell this is going to happen. This will make it to Major League Baseball, right? We will see more strikes called, probably. I'm guessing this will be strikeouts will go up as a result of this, not down. I believe these robo-umps are going to be more programmed to the borderline strike than not. And
why do you say that? I'm curious.
Because the league is determined to speed up pace of play, and elongated counts with walks don't meet that objective. That's why.
Not only that, how do you argue balls and strikes with a robo-ump?
You throw some water on it.
Well, that'll take care of the whole thing.
Intelligent design for the win.
I'm in the camp of the people you're accusing. I don't do it every day. and I watch a lot of games in a lot of sports.
Mhm.
And for the most part, I don't make that comment, but I do and will continue to call out things I think are extremely egregious. But that's everyone's personal preference. I have no qualms with how you do it. It's fine. But for the most part, is it that bad? Especially in baseball, where I watch and attend a lot of baseball games, and I don't see that many decisions that I will say this is one of the worst calls I've ever seen. I
Yeah,
just don't.
right, and you know what? And this has always been my point. So what? If even if you do, even if we have a scenario where that kid from Detroit a few years ago, 10 years ago, whatever it was, loses a perfect game because of a bad call. So what? It happens. Bill Buckner blew a World Series by having a ball go through his legs that a little leaguer would have caught. It happens.
Yeah,
Like that's the
it's the
world.
randomness of it.
Yeah, that's the world. And that's okay. And that's always been my point with refs. So they screw up badly, egregiously, horrendously, whatever it is, in a big spot, costing a game, a Super Bowl, a World Series. So what? Players and managers do the same thing. Are we going to have robo managers next?
Don't wish that into existence.
But that's my point. Like it's like, I mean, they're already half robots anyway. Aaron Boone is at least partly bionic. The way he manages. Like they're already halfway there, most of them. The ones that aren't are old and they're like, get that crap away from me. I'm too old for that shit. But like the Buck Showalters of the world. But and of course Dusty Baker. But like
Lee Majors, MLB
that's right.
umpire.
But the other thing this is gonna do, without question, a position that in the analytics and offense age has already been maybe somewhat deprioritized, that being the position of catcher. Catchers are screwed here because basically people don't steal bases anyway. So throwing out guys isn't all that important. Now there's no such thing as knowing your pitching staff, framing pitches, getting talking to the umpires, influencing the umpires, working the nuance of those relationships. There's none of that now. There's no understanding. Well, this umpire likes things high. This one likes things low. This one's a little wide, whatever. None of that exists anymore. And that's like 70% of the catcher's value.
Yeah.
So now we just screwed some catchers too, to say nothing of, I know right now, today, as this stands, it's one, not in the major leagues yet, and two, not necessarily getting rid of the home plate umpire, just making him sort of a decoration. Um, but
Why have one there?
but that's where I was going. That's today. Someone will eventually ask that exact question you just asked and determine we don't need one. And there's more jobs killed for no reason other than people have been bitching about it for 1,000 years. And baseball is finally coming around to saying, okay, well, then the hell with it. We won't have it. And this is, I will never, ever criticize a ref for this reason, because I know they are something that the leagues want to replace with technology. They've wanted to for a long time. I believe back 20 years ago when they instituted instant replay, it was with designs to eventually automate officiating to a great extent. It took them a while to get there technologically. Now they have. And I see it as purely nefarious and completely antithetical to the crux of what sports are, which is a human decompression experience. And people will say, do you watch baseball for the umps? No, I watch baseball for the people, for the humanity of it, for the randomness of it. I don't, and because I don't watch baseball for the umps, I don't care if they get the call right or wrong any more than I care if a random player makes an error on a random player or not, or a manager makes a stupid decision randomly in the middle of a game. Like
But see, I'll call them out too.
but that's what we're gonna talk. I mean, that's what you're gonna
Right.
talk about. That's the game. Like the umpires, the refs are window dressing to the game. They're ancillary. Like to me,
That's the way it should be, though.
and it is
When they make themselves not
well,
that,
no,
I'm gonna say something.
we make them that by talking about it. You can only be as relevant as people talk about you. I mean, if
Yeah.
people doesn't say anything about you, you're irrelevant. I wouldn't know a ref's name in the whole world if it weren't for the fact that they announced them every time they made a call on Sunday. Yeah, I might know Ed Hockley because he was Ed Hercules, but he'd be the only one.
And he isn't even there anymore.
No, right, exactly. He's been gone a long time. But I just think this is a mess, and I think it's gonna get a lot worse. We have reached a point, I believe, of no return on this. I do believe this will be in Major League Baseball, and I do believe over the next 10 years, it's going to grow to the point where we're probably going to have two umpires, one at the field, above the field in the press box, and one in New York. And everything on the field will be called by robots. Balls and strikes, safe and out, fair and foul. And that's where we're headed. So, good
I
job,
was
everyone.
hoping that it wouldn't come to this in my lifetime. And it hasn't. Yeah. This may be a disastrous failure.
Unless you're planning on checking out real soon, it will. Because this will be a Major League Baseball within the next year or so. I can basically guarantee it.
Not planning it that soon.
Exactly. That's what I mean. So you're going to get your wish or your non-wish wish.
First of all, just AAA.
No, it was already in the lower minors. That's already been in place for a little while.
You know how many AA games I was at last year? I never saw it once.
Yeah, well, I don't think it was every team in every league, but they've gradually used it at lower levels and worked its way up. And now with AAA, they're doing it across the board. And my understanding, and I could be wrong about this, but my understanding is this is the first time it's being used every game blanket across a single level of play. Other like leagues or divisions have gone to it. Like let's say, for example, they didn't, but I just know this league off the top of my head, the New York Penn League. They didn't do it, but a league within a level of minor league baseball had done it. Like that's the way it's been deployed to this point at the lower levels.
Well, I know in AA, in the Eastern League, I have yet to see it. I've only been in ballparks, but I have yet to see it neither. If this happens in AAA, and unfortunately it's my most convenient place to see baseball.
Erie, right? Or Buffalo. No, Buffalo.
AAA. Yeah,
Buffalo,
AAA.
right.
If it's happening in AAA, it just means I'm not going to AAA games.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a thing. I mean, and that's the problem is I think what you just said, not going to games as a result of this, it is unfortunately not going to do anything. Because I don't know that they're ever going to go back on this no matter what. I think they've made up their minds that this is the way forward. And it's this idea, this obsessive idea that every call has to be right every time or else. Like, we don't hold players to those standards. You can't. We don't hold managers to those standards. You can't. Lord knows we don't hold trainers to those standards. Probably should, but we definitely
kind of do hold managers to those standards.
Not to the same degree as
because we drill them if they don't.
Yeah,
I mean, look what we did with Coach Nate this year.
But they also get fired every half year too as a result of that.
Right. Yeah, but see, umpires or officials never do, no matter how bad they are.
And nor should they. To me, they should be more or less like judges. They should be more or less lifetime appointments. I want consistency with that, even if it's consistency in a not excellent way. I would rather less excellence and more consistency than more excellence and less consistency. I don't want ref turnover. I don't.
What's the point, though, of not striving for that excellence?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say they don't strive for it. A lot of people strive for it and don't achieve it in a lot of walks of life, and a lot don't. And I can't say with any accuracy whatsoever if any or all of these refs fall into either of those camps. I don't know, but nor do I care. I care that they're human. I care that the catchers still remain relevant. I care that the randomness of the sport remains there. That includes strike zones. And this is a huge step away from all of that. And that is not a worthy sacrifice in my mind to, quote, get the calls right. I don't care. I don't. Like, I'm not there for accuracy. I'm there for entertainment. And this is going to make baseball more boring. It is. What are some of the most famous highlights in all of baseball history are crazy managers arguing balls and strikes with umpires. Those won't exist anymore.
What are they going to do? Run out and argue with a robot?
Yeah,
or just come out with the glass of water and
right.
toss it.
Yeah, just toss it at it. Right. I mean, that's what we're talking about here. So, in my mind, I'll give you an analogy. I equate this to if hockey were to ever take fighting out of the sport. Because to me, managers yelling at umpires over balls and strikes is the baseball equivalent of a hockey fight. And
they try to take it out, but they haven't, and they never will.
Because people like it, because it's interesting, because it's entertaining. It is fun watching Lou Piniella go out and steal first base and walk away with it. Now, I know that's not an everyday occurrence, but guys come out all the time. Even Mr. Robot himself, Aaron Boone, gets animated for him at times, arguing balls and strikes. It's good. It's fun. Now that won't happen.
It is.
I mean, because what's going to happen is they're going to argue with the home plate umpire in the beginning. The umpire is going to say, talk to the robot. The robot's not going to talk. And then what's going to happen is people could complain about it. And eventually, baseball's solution to it will be to take the umpire away altogether so as to prevent the distraction from even being possible. That's the way this is going to go. I'm telling you right now, that's exactly what's going to happen. It might take a few years, but that's the way this is going to go down. I can guarantee it. So, congratulations, Peanut Gallery. You got what you, if not wished for, you reaped what you sowed over many years of complaining. So, here you have it. Congratulations. All right, let's take a break. I need it. We're going to come back and do the question of the day. We got NFL predictions to make today. First round of the playoffs this week. Of course, we got that. We got some NBA to talk about. Great game last night, LA and Dallas. We'll talk about that. Knicks in action tonight. A lot to get to. It's the Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave.
Do you own a timeshare? Well, face the facts. You made a mistake. You made a bad purchase. A timeshare is not an investment. It's a money pit that continues forever. If you use your timeshare, that's great. But if you don't, and you want to legally get out of your contract, call my friends right now at the Timeshare Exit Hotline. They're an experienced team of lawyers who help good people like you get out of a timeshare contract that they just don't want. Don't throw away your money on maintenance fees. Use it for things you really want. We can help you end your timeshare contract and stop the money drain immediately. If you're ready to move on with your timeshare, call our team right now.
Cancel your timeshare now with a free call. 800-741-9557. 800-741-9557. 800-741-9557. That's 800-741-9557. If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. Ouch! Well, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers. If you administer insulin 3 or more times frames per day or use an insulin pump. Call now and learn how a CGM can help you.
Painless. No more pricking my finger.
No finger pricks.
Convenience. They delivered it free and they took care of all the paperwork.
You can reduce pain right away. Plus, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you spend more time in range. And if you have insurance, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. Call now and get free shipping of your new CGM. Plus, we'll bill your insurance for you. 800-826-5884. 800-826-5884. 800-826-5884. That's 800-826-5884.
All righty, it's time for the radio question of the day.
If you need an excuse to schedule your next tea time, stay tuned. I am KO, back in 1 minute with your sports question of the day.
You can earn a substantial income by farming for the city. All you need to do is take your crop to market and win the competition for the consumer dollars. There is a well-proven strategy for winning this competition. You will find it embedded in Metro Farm, the guide to growing in or near the city for the city.
Polyface Farms, Joel Salatin.
Few how-to books could be more appropriate for our times than Metro Farm, a truly comprehensive manual. Metro Farm makes the whole embedded food system doable. It's a must-read.
Before you plant your seeds, pick up a copy of the Ben Franklin Book of the Year award-winning Metro Farm. Then plant your seeds and win the dollars. MetroFarm.com. MetroFarm.com.
Golf is good for you. And not only is it good for you, the game is actually a holistic wellness routine. This according to Inside Hook contributor Nicholas McClelland. McClelland contends that golf is a game you play on a long walk in a park, usually with friends, effectively making the golf course a gem for the mind, body, and soul, providing players with aerobic exercise, a cerebral challenge, and the vital experience of being outdoors. And if that isn't reason enough to schedule your next tee time, Swedish researchers have determined that on average, golfers live up to 5 years longer than non-golfers. Question: are you partial to golf carts, or do you like to walk 18?
You know, I actually think they make a very good argument for the game there. I really do. I'm not a golfer myself. I've thought about getting into the game a little bit. And all of those reasons make a lot of sense. Plus, you can day drink.
I can day drink without golf, you know.
That's true. But it gives me an excuse. Instead of looking like a sorry sap in my underwear in my room, just drinking by myself in my house in the dark at 11 o'clock, at least I'm out with friends getting some vitamin D and having something to blame for my terrible golf game. Like, oh yeah, it's just because I'm drinking too much. Yeah, that's why I can't keep the ball straight. No, that's not the reason, but you know. Good excuse. Good excuse.
Good point.
All kidding aside, I think this is a really good game. And I do think it's a great social game. I really do. And in fact, I think the social value of pickleball is exactly what's led to its explosion in popularity.
Yes.
I think that has a lot to do with it. I think people have for a long time been relatively starved for social interaction in a real world type of setting. And I think that was exacerbated greatly in the wake of COVID, since so many people chose to follow the stupid mandates and like just lock themselves in the house for a couple of years. But I think so a lot of those people were like ready to go crazy or did go crazy. So they went and played pickleball. That would also be an explanation of going crazy. But anyway.
Haven't tried it yet. You got nothing to say.
Nah, I'm just messing with it. I don't really care about it either way. It looks reasonably fun, but it's, you know, just not my thing yet. I'm probably more prone to try golf than pickleball, just because I do like the outdoor nature of it. I do like the walking. I love to walk. And golf also has the added benefit of being sort of there's an expectation of being social with golf. You know, even though pickleball, I think, has created some social interaction opportunities, when you say I'm going to play golf with buddies, what most people see in their mind's eye is I'm going out with my friends, we're drinking and we're talking, and yeah, we'll hit some shots in there too. That's kind of what is in your mind's eye when someone tells you that.
Yeah.
It might be the only sport that's like that, really. So I think golf is unique in that respect. I really do. I've always thought it was kind of more so than the professional circuit. And maybe this is the other thing that's, I think, different about golf than other sports. Maybe tennis is like this to a degree also. The kind of personality and the public perception of the sport is more colored and created by the amateur and lay person level of the sport than the professional layer. Like, no one thinks of like pickup basketball players at the YMCA when someone says basketball. They think of LeBron James, they think of high flying dunks, they think of huge athletes. When someone says tennis, you very well might think of like two middle-aged women going there, you know, in the morning on Sunday on a court by the school. Or you might think of a club that meets at that school once a week because it's part of your community. And golf and tennis are like kind of the only sports that are sort of like that. And I find that interesting about both.
Well, I will say the same thing for bridge.
Isn't
And
bridge a
there
card
are-
game?
Yes, but they are popping up. Bridge clubs are popping up everywhere. I've never played the game. I have no idea about it. But it's just a curiosity to me why they're popping up.
Yeah, no, it is interesting. And personally, there are few settings I enjoy more socially than board games and card games.
Mhm.
That's me personally. I absolutely love both. Poker is one of my favorite hobbies. I play it a lot. The trouble with poker is because there's kind of like baseball, there's no time limit to it. There's a money limit, of course, but there's really no time limit to it. People have to really go play poker with people who want to play as long or as much as them with equal or similar money in their pocket and likelihood of not being knocked out, because there's nothing more awkward than going there. Let's say you go there with a buddy, you take one card together, one of you gets knocked down in an hour, or just wants to leave after 3 and he wants to stay for 10. There's no place in the world that's more brutal to be when you don't have money to spend in the casino.
Yes. Which is why I don't frequent casinos that often.
See, I go to the casino by me enough, but I almost always go by myself for this reason. I'll just sit down at a table, play for as long as I feel like it. Because I'm social, I don't mind just, striking up conversations with strangers. I do that all the time. So, like, that to me is the best way. That's the only downside to poker. Something like a sport, like let's say pickleball or say golf or tennis, they have a finite end. If not timed, you can pretty much time it because you're playing to 21 or you're playing 3 sets or you're playing 9 holes or whatever it is.
Right.
So it makes it a little bit better.
The problem with that, and I notice this a lot in golf, if you're not close to your foursome and you're not all out there for the same reason, you get the one guy who thinks he's a pro and takes it way to the point of anger. And I'm like,
yes,
dude, we all stink. Stop.
Right, exactly.
Just stop.
Or you don't want to be, it's like the old saying in real estate, don't have the nicest house on the block, don't outbuild the neighborhood. You also don't want to be the guy who actually is legitimately good in a group full of guys like you and me.
Right.
Like you don't want that either, because that's going to be frustrating for him.
Right. You play up to your competition.
Yeah, you want to play in your group that fits. And that's true. So yeah, golf's not a setting, I don't think, where you meet new people necessarily. I mean, I guess you do on the course, but it's not like you end up playing with strangers the way you do in like pickup basketball.
Right.
But
I mean, how many people on a golf course do you talk to besides the people in your foursome and the bartender? I mean, basically, that's
probably it. Unless you're playing real close to another group, you might make some chat at the tee every once in a while, but for the most part, that's it. Yeah. Yeah, it's a good sport for that. I really do think that's the case. So, there we have it. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. Let's do some NBA reaction. A lot of good games last night. One in particular, 9 games on the docket today. So we'll do a recap of last night. We'll do a preview of today, and then we will finish up the hour maybe with some NHL news. We'll get into hour 2, top 5 NFL predictions, news you can use. That's what's on tap the rest of the way. It's the Gary Ayd Show. Back after this here on The Cave.
Are you like me? You have health insurance, but you don't have dental insurance. Do you need to get to the dentist right away? Maybe you need an implant or some other major service. Well, I found a dental insurance plan that's just right for you. It's called Spirit Dental. Spirit Dental offers a $100 lifetime deductible, a huge network of dentists. And here's the best part. There's no waiting periods. Yeah, that means you can call right now and have real dental insurance for you and your family tomorrow and get that immediate coverage you want. Spirit Dental has plans for just a few dollars a day, up to $5,000 annual maximum, and coverage for implants. Whatever age you are, the dental insurance you need is a free phone call away. Now don't wait, and be sure to ask about Spirit's vision plan. Here's the number: 800-631-9229. 800-631-9229. That's 800-631-9229.
Hey friend, life happens and you need money. What do? You call the special toll-free number we're about to give you. We will send you a link to your phone with details on how you can loan up to $5,000. Couldn't you use $5,000 to pay for your rent, pay grocery bills, get your car repaired, or whatever you need? It's up to you. We don't care. We're just here to lend you the money. And we'll lend people money with good, bad, or no credit at all. Of course, some terms and conditions apply, and you'll see those on the link we're going to send you. So if you need up to $5,000 maybe as soon as the next business day, call this number right now. We will text you a free link with details.
Paid for by Money Mutual. Call 800-586-7112. 800-586-7112. 800-586-7112. That's 800-586-7112.
A little bit of interesting news real quick. The Arizona Cardinals will attempt to trade wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins this offseason. Well, that should make the team better.
Gee, you think maybe their quarterback's making too much and it's kind of hard to keep
either that or they're just thinking the new GM and the new coach want to come in and do their own thing. That's to me, that's the biggest problem with teams that constantly change coaches and or front office people. Is it's only natural that the new person coming in wants to like build it their own way. But the problem with that is that none of them ever get enough time to do it, because when you build it your own way, the process of doing that means you're going to lose for a while. And then the losing gets you fired before you've actually finished the build. And then the next person comes in and wants to build it their own way. They tear it down again. And then by the time they're kind of getting somewhere, they get fired because they lost too much. And the next person comes in and the cycle repeats itself. That's exactly what causes that cycle. So
right.
I don't think this is a salary cap thing as much as I think it's a power changing hands thing. And the new guy wants to have his voice. It's basically a dick wagging contest as far as I'm concerned.
But to get rid of the best player.
Oh, it's stupid. I mean, it was dumb when the Raiders traded Randy Moss for like a bag of peanuts and they send him to New England of all places. Like, yeah, that wasn't smart where they trade him for like a 7th round pick. He's Randy Moss. He's better than a 7th round pick today, 10 years after retiring. Like,
true.
God. Oh, it drives me crazy, this stuff. Anyway, all right. So let's take a look at the NBA last night. Lakers and Mavericks played a great game. It didn't work out the way I wanted to, but man, what a basketball game. Double overtime. Christian Wood goes crazy.
Yeah, this game was a lot of fun. Just a lot of fun. Now, talking about what you were ranting on earlier.
Yep.
This game, one of the writers said it was a rugby game disguised as basketball. Mark Cuban tweeted it was the worst officiated game he has seen.
He's said that 4 million times in his life.
Writer for CBS said there's letting them play, and well, whatever happened last night. I tend to think that when both teams have complaints about that, it means the officiating was pretty fair.
Well, like I always say with being a ref, you're 50% wrong 100% of the time.
Yep. Some legitimate. For one, I think Dallas got hammered into the line a lot. I think the Lakers shot that there was a foul on that everyone flipped over that, sent it into overtime because of a non-call. I thought was just that, a non-call. They let the game be physical, and sometimes that's all right. It's all right. It was a great game.
I have no problem with the game being let to be physical. In fact, not only do I not have a problem with it, I love it. It's actually one of the things that makes the NBA playoffs, makes the energy and the intensity that everyone talks about as being a palpable. It's one of the things that makes that happen, is because they do let them play much more freely in the playoffs. That's just a known thing. Everyone knows that. And it was cool that they kind of went into playoff mode. The officiating I'm talking about went into playoff mode for one random game, and it's no consequence that it turned out being a great game.
Yes.
Like, let the players play, and oh man, did they play? I mean, we talk about Christian Wood, and of course Luka was great. I mean, this was just a great game.
Luka was Luka.
Yes.
That's pretty much what he is and what he does. I thought Russell Westbrook was great.
Yes.
That is the best game I saw him play in 2 years. Why? Because he wasn't jacking up junk. He was getting into the lane, taking the range. He had 28 points, and they were earned.
Yeah,
I thought both teams made great plays all over the court.
Yep.
And that was just, it had the look and feel of a playoff game.
Yep, it did. It really did. The thing about this game is you got a little of everything. You got the star power with LeBron and Luka. You got the great performance from Westbrook you just talked about. And then if you're the Mavs, you got to love the balanced scoring in your starting lineup. I mean, you got 22 points from Tim Hardaway Jr., not the most efficient 22, but you played 48 minutes, so you can't expect it to be. But Christian Wood was great, just maybe his best game, if not of his career, certainly of this season. Still didn't get a lot from your bench. And that if I was the Mavs, the one thing I would be highlighting out of this game in the opportunities column would be, okay, it is crystal clear we need to upgrade our bench and get a scorer on our bench. We played 2 overtimes and got a combined 14 points in over, 45, almost 50 minutes.
Yes.
Like, yeah, that's not good enough. We need more from and we can't get more from our bench because we don't have someone on that bench to get it. Now, what's going to help is which
is why I think that they had Wood coming off the bench for a while.
See, I agree. And one thing I was just going to say, I think that when Finney-Smith returns from injury,
yes,
if I'm the Mavericks, I am absolutely moving Hardaway to that 6th man role. We desperately need him there.
Oh, yeah.
He's the only guy on this roster as it stands right now. I guess him and Dinwiddie, either one of them would be capable of being the 6th man, instant offense. They need that in the worst way. Where is it going to come from right now? It's not coming from Frank Ntilikina. It's not coming from Dwight Powell.
Was outstanding last night.
Oh, Dinwiddie's awesome. I've always been a fan of his game. He's an excellent player. He really is.
Because Hardaway's the most inconsistent out of the bunch, I would like to see him come off the bench.
Yep, he's the most inconsistent. He's also the most explosive. When he has his good nights, he can really be,
That's when he
game
plays
changing.
36 minutes, no matter what.
Right, right. He can be game changing on his good
Right.
nights.
Maxi Kleber being out hurts too,
Yes,
because he is the anchor of the defense on that team.
yes. Toby agrees.
See,
Yeah.
if Toby agrees, we're all right.
We're all good. Now, getting to the Lakers side of things, you got a decent game from LeBron. He didn't have his best shooting game. He struggled with his shot most of the night, but he did give you 16 rebounds, still scored 24 points and got 9 assists. You got really nothing from the rest of your starters. That's the concerning part if you're the Lakers. I mean, you got really next to nothing from everyone else. What did you get? 11 points from Thomas Bryant, 7 apiece from Schroeder and Christie. This is and 4 from Toscano Anderson. Like you said, great game from Russell Westbrook. But the Lakers need Davis back. It's as simple as that.
They do. There is no doubt about it.
But couple other storylines from last night's NBA action. Ben Simmons joined an odd group of register at least 13 assists without a game.
Yes.
So that's a weird fact.
This was his second scoreless game this year. And third in his career. He was not this hesitant. He just wasn't. I don't get it. He's got to. And they discussed this after the game on Inside the NBA. And he was like, this is his game. Jack's like, no, you have to at least attempt to score.
Right.
He passed up a couple of shots that he shouldn't have, especially late in the game. And Kenny Smith made a real interesting comparison. He said, compare him to last night's Russell Westbrook. Get into the lane and do what you got to do. If you have to put your head down and just go, just do it. Whatever happens, happens. But you have to make the attempt, or they're just not going to guard you.
Right. And while his coach was watching this from the bench, he might have been having feelings of deja vu because Jacques Vaughn himself is one of those other 18 players who accomplished way back in 2006 with this exact franchise. Funny enough, they were then in New Jersey. So he knows what he was looking at. He did it.
Vaughn didn't come in with the expectations that
True.
Simmons came in.
Or the ability.
Right. Well, that. Yeah. Absolutely. But you've got the issue is that you've got this player who did this in
Yes.
different ways. He got inside. I don't think, and everybody's saying, well, he's afraid to shoot. He's afraid to shoot. I don't think so. I think he's passing because he's afraid to get fouled.
Mm-hmm.
I really do.
Yeah. No,
He's afraid to get fouled
I
because
agree.
the worst is going to happen when he goes to the line. He's a 41% free throw shooter.
That's disgusting. I mean, that's like hard to achieve.
Yeah. And what happened to Joel Embiid?
No.
He's more built like me now. And he's gone for a couple of weeks. What did he do? What did he, like, move into a buffet? He looks terrible.
You know who taught him that one is James Harden. Remember how James Harden came back? Like,
James Harden always comes back like that.
that's what I'm saying. He's teaching them to beat the ropes.
Oh, great.
The wrong ropes.
Oh, great. That's a boon for the career.
Oh, yeah, he didn't look good. You're right.
And he looked tired. And I can see why. He looked 10 pounds heavier than he did 2 weeks ago.
I suppose
And that's not easy to do.
I suppose when you're 300 pounds, 10 pounds kind of fluctuate more than us mere normal-sized people. But yeah, no, it's still very noticeable. I agree with you 100%.
I'll tell you a little story. There was a kid that played in college at Hofstra, and I coached him in the PBA when it was the PBA, and a league right behind the G League. And he was 6'10", and when he played in college, he was 275 at beast. He played for me, he was 320. But still too good for this level.
Right.
Although he couldn't get off the ground as well.
Right.
He used to, but he was too good for this level just because he knew what he's doing. And someone said to me after one game, man, if he lost 40 pounds, he would dominate this league. I said, if he lost 40 pounds, he'd be in the league. He wouldn't be here.
Right. Yeah.
That's the thing. That little bit of weight, say, is a little bit of weight, but it makes a difference.
Oh, it
and
does.
I think he'll lose that. He'll get in shape, but
It was quite
it's bad.
It was quite
It's
a
really
sight.
bad.
Yeah, it was quite a sight. Loss for the Bucks losing to the Heat. That's a tough loss. And then the Nets predictably lost to the Celtics last night. No KD. They just don't have enough offense.
Close game.
It was a close game. It was a close
And
game.
I thought some ancillary people played well. Nick Claxton did another piece.
Yep.
Aaron made some good plays. It's just that, and his name had TJ Warren had 20 points in 28 minutes.
Speaking of scoring, Damian Lillard
You don't replace KD.
No, that's very true. Lillard put up 50 last night in a losing effort to the Cavs. But
what a well balanced and great win for the Cavs. This was a really nice win. Mitchell was Mitchell. Garland looked great. Mobley did not hit numbers, but man, the impact he made, especially late in a very close game with a couple of key block shots and a nice defensive play or two. Jared Allen had a 24 and 10 double-double, I think. He's the key to that team.
Oh, yeah, Jared Allen. Yeah, he's a big piece
really
to that team. I agree.
He's an anchor. And with him and Mobley back, they're scary.
Yeah,
and Mitchell has just become this go-to guy in the fourth quarter. It's deadly.
I'll tell you, he's something. I've always was a fan of him, but now I'm like really getting to be even more of a fan.
Me too.
I've always liked Donovan Mitchell's game. Now I think it's like taking that next step. I'll tell you this. Let's do a quick exercise real quick. We got 4 minutes before the break. Let's do a quick exercise. I'm going to give you a handful of names here. I want you to just tell me, would you take the guy I give you or Mitchell? Okay? So, Damian Lillard.
I'd take Mitchell.
James Harden.
Younger, healthier.
Okay. James Harden.
I'd take Mitchell.
Okay. Klay Thompson.
Thompson's better defensively, but one more injury away from at his age.
All right.
Being just enough play.
Yep. Agreed. All right, a couple more. Get some younger guys in here. Here's an interesting one. Aaron Fox.
Two different players doing two different things. I would take Mitchell. Mitchell plays in the fourth quarter, and one of Sacramento's problems has been blown.
That's awesome. Here's a really two more. These I think are going to be the hardest ones yet. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
Ooh. Love the way SGA gets inside. Really do. He has an advantage of his size.
Yes.
I think right now I would still take him. He can go inside. He had to get off a lob late last night. And I think he's a little better outside. Mitchell's a little better. Jay's a little better defensively. That's a toss-up.
Yeah, figured that.
I haven't seen Shea Gilgeous-Alexander enough in clutch situations to compare them. I've seen Mitchell in nothing but clutch situations this year,
and early in his
it's
career,
hard.
I mean, he was in big playoff games for the Jazz.
Yes,
dueled the hell out of Murray, which might have been like the best one-on-one block we've seen in the last several years. I mean, that was awesome. I know it was only like a second round game, but man, that was fun. All right, the last one I'm going to give you, Tyrese Halliburton.
Right now, I think check back in 2 years.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and my point for this exercise is I just listed a lot of best guards in the NBA, both veteran guards and young guys who have established themselves. Obviously, I left off the top guy, Luka, and I didn't even mention Curry. But ultimately, this shows
Or
John Morant. Well, I assumed Morant and Luka were, no one's.
Yeah.
You're not taking anyone over those two guys other than the other one, basically,
Right.
regardless of position.
The only issue I have about Durant is he can be as good as Mitchell with
Morant, not Durant. Yeah, no, I think that's.
Yeah,
I think that's a fair question. I tend to agree. But yeah, so that just goes to illustrate what level player we're talking about with this Mitchell guy right now. That's where he's at. So that's why I wanted to look for that.
Question for
Yeah.
quick: is there any of my decisions that you would say no? I disagree on that.
No, not at all. I think the only one that I would have had a hard time with is the same ones you had a hard time with. I think Halliburton and Alexander are tough to pass up. But no, not at all.
Yes.
I mean, I asked you to do this in a vacuum. Obviously, that we didn't make any distinction between situations. I mean, certainly, I think if I needed a shooter and a veteran leader and a spacer, and I was an otherwise contending team, maybe Klay Thompson is a better fit. But just talking in the vacuum, like player to player, yeah, I would have used all the same things you did. 100%. So there you have it. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. We have the top 5. We still got to do our NFL picks, so we'll give you some stuff to watch for the weekend, including today. A lot of NBA games today, 9 back, and we'll have news you can use. It's the Gary Ayd Show, back in 6 minutes here on the Cave. Alrighty, hour 2 of the Gary Ayd Show here on the Cave, cavetalkradio.com, the Cave Talk Radio app. Great to have you aboard. Gary Ayd, Rich Anselmo, top of the hour. Of course, means one thing. It's time for the top 5. All right, there we go. What do we got today, Rich?
Okay, let's pick up on the same theme that we were doing the other day. I think we did the NBA. About your all-time Major League Baseball what if team? Your all-time top 5 players.
Yeah.
And the what if? What if there wasn't?
Yep. Well, there's 2 that come to mind right away. Josh Hamilton, more recently. Big one for me. Tony Canigliaro, further back.
That's the top of my list.
Yeah, he's an obvious. I think it's hard to even put a guy like this in what if what he accomplished anyway. It's part of his legacy. People have the discussion all the time. What if Ted Williams doesn't miss 5 years? Different type of what if.
Yeah. Well, that's why I didn't want to limit it.
Yeah. But that's a question.
That's a very good question.
What if another good one is what if Kurt Flood doesn't go out and become locker room politician to get free agency going? What type of career does he end up having?
He was second on my list.
Yeah, that's another one. Trying to think of some others. Certainly, there's been a lot of guys who have had careers shortened by injuries. Mark Pryor comes to mind. Kerry Wood, although he kind of reinvented himself and had a little career.
Mark Fidrich.
Fidrich, yeah, he was a weird guy. Very strange. If Denny Wayne doesn't go to prison, he's an idiot.
Doesn't gamble
I guess that wasn't his. He didn't go to jail during his career, did he?
No.
That's the fact. But still, he had his he was playing. Trying to think of some other ones.
Yes, he did. He absolutely did.
Yes.
Ray Fosse.
Yeah. Like Pete Rose.
What if that collusion was out?
Well, there's a sad and tragic one. What if Thurman Munson never dies in a plane crash?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he definitely was not done.
No, I'm far from it. He was in his prime.
Yeah. That was a long way to go.
Yeah, he did. So, that's a pretty good list. Rather quickly. Do you have any others, maybe? Trying to think.
I think you covered most of the ones I did.
Yeah, those are the names that come to mind right away. So, kind of trying to make some sense of this. 3 that make it for me without question are Hamilton, Canigliaro, and Kurt Flood. Especially the first. Another for me that's pretty jarring is Munson. Pryor, I tend to think was probably going to be one of those guys who had a few good years and then just kind of I always thought him and Barry Zito were very similar. Barry Zito maybe even won a Cy Young in there. He was like a 20-game winner a couple of times, but then he had a career of pedestrianism. I always felt that him and Mark Pryor were kind of similar pitchers. So I tend to think that Pryor, had he not just like completely fallen apart physically, would have probably gone on to a career like that. So for that reason, I'm going to leave him off my list. Another guy that comes to mind is someone like his first baseman, who's really good, and then he had problems staying healthy. Not a first baseman. It was Andrew Jones.
Yeah.
What if Andrew Jones had how to play baseball?
And
That was weird.
This thing, you know what actually
I
happened.
have no clue. That's the weirdest thing I've ever seen in baseball. I think because it wasn't something like the Yips or something like we've seen with like Stacks, we've seen with Chuck Knobloch and others. Like,
Yeah.
He just like forgot how to play the game. He just like overnight in one off season, he went from like he was never high averaging. He was like a 250 hitter, but like he went from like a 250 hitter with like mega power and the best center fielder, like other than maybe Griffey, like in the last 50 years, and a base stealer. He went from all that at the age of 29 to like nothing. Like in one off season, it's almost like he went back to the factory and God deprogrammed him. Like, all right, we're gonna take that baseball talent and kind of long enough. It's like remove that shit. Like, what happened? It was just the weirdest thing.
I wish I had an answer. I have no idea. All of a sudden, it was just couldn't play.
Yeah, just boom.
If it was an injury, what was it?
Right. Yeah,
I mean, there has to be some reason why he got like that, but no one ever discussed it.
Well, I think it's too confounding to discuss because there were no known or obvious injuries. Like, I don't know. It's just the weirdest thing. So, he's an interesting what if because to me, he was without question on a first ballot Hall of Fame trajectory. And then because of the way he didn't fall off, he completely collapsed. He crumbled like overnight. It leaves his resume feeling incomplete and non-conclusive. So he's now one of these guys that may get in one day, may not. He was going to be one of those guys that, like, when they introduce the Hall of Fame class, it says, they'll say Derek Jeter, so-and-so, and so-and-so headline this class. He would have been one of those potentially where Andrew Jones headlines this. Like, he was on that level.
Right. That's the most mystifying.
It is. All right, so let's see. Where are we going to go?
Let's rank them.
Number one to me is Josh Allen. And I can understand Canigliaro being number one. I think that might just be a generational thing. But
yeah, because he was mine.
Right, yeah, and I get that. I could easily put him number one too, probably for more or less the same reasons. Although obviously the reason for not achieving their potential is very different. But the reason,
we were wondering for a while if he was going to win.
Right,
and it definitely did shorten his life.
Yep. And one of the worst parts about it is both of these guys. The reason they're both on this list is they both had such unreal talent. And
they both had Hall of Fame talent.
They did. And they both showed enough of it to know what we would have gotten.
Yes.
Had their circumstances not been what they had been. Of course, Canigliaro was just injured. In a tragic, horrible injury. Died. And Hamilton, well, you talk about go. It's like, yeah. Exaggerated. Man.
Hamilton is on my list as well, but not as high as you might have.
Yeah, because, okay. I have Hamilton 1. I have Canigliaro 2. Those two were I'm just going with the guy I personally saw, but I could go either way with those two. I'm going to put Andrew Jones third, just because just shocking. Let's see. Thing with Kurt Flood, the reason I don't have him that high is because he played a good chunk of what would have been at the time his natural career. It wasn't like he was a second or third year guy when this went down. He was about 10 years in the league already.
Right, but I thought he had 4 good ones left.
He
was on top of it.
No, he was. And that's why I mentioned him. I don't know that he's going to make my list because I think I got enough of his prime. Not having a lot of other questions.
I get that. But he is on my list just for the reason that he fundamentally changed the game.
He did. And if this was a.
What if they had just rolled with that?
Right.
Let him go?
No question.
He probably had 4 more years of prime World Series winning.
Yeah. And I think that if the tenets of this question were a little different, like the outcome of the reason that made his career shorter was more relevant to the question, he would be higher on the list.
Yeah.
So, but for me, just because I feel like I got a pretty complete picture of his career and abilities, it's the only reason he's not making my 5.
Understand.
Because this other guy is not really feel that way at all. 4 is going to be Thurman Munson. And number 5 is tricky for me. 4 is tricky too because the guys I'm thinking for these last couple of spots are Munson, Williams. I'm thinking about Pryor. And I'm thinking about. I already have it. I was thinking about Kurt Flood. So there's a 4 or 5 guys. Thing is, like, I'm going to put Williams on this list because I think there's a outside possibility that he had like great years, like better than average even for him during those 5. He very well might have had close to 700 home runs. It would have been only the second guy in history to achieve them. Like, so I think that's a big enough what if, despite the fact that I undoubtedly know what he was as a player. We all do. The same argument I just used against Kurt Flood. I feel like I'm, kind of putting that aside here for Williams, and so I'm just explaining my reasoning for it. The reasoning is whether Kurt Flood played 4 or 5 more prime years, where his stats ranked in the universal pecking order of hierarchy and just counting stats weren't gonna. It's not like they guaranteed he missed out on like historic milestones. Whereas in Williams' case, he undoubtedly would have had 600 home runs, and he may have had 700. He would have undoubtedly had 3,000 hits. So those are huge what ifs. So for that reason, and as a baseball player from a statistical standpoint, Williams, of course, much more historically relevant than Flood. Not when you take the big picture, what Flood ended up doing, but Williams is the all-time historic figure. So I'm going to put him 4th on my list. And 5, I think 5 for me is going to be, you know what? I got a good one. We didn't even mention this guy. It's just a last-second guy that popped in my mind, without a doubt. Number 5 is Jabba Chamberlain. What if the Yankees don't screw it up and move him to the starting rotation?
Oh,
he was a great, electric,
he was.
Totally amazing closer.
And that's their decade-plus need for starting pitching.
Right. And they also still had Mariano Rivera very much on top of his game there. So they're like, we don't want to use a guy this good as an 8th man, 8th inning guy, which I understood the logic, but man, it's very seldom you see a guy who's got touch, and then you take it away from him, and they never found it again. So that's going to be my pick. Albert Chamberlain. What if the Yankees never move him out of the bullpen?
Very good one.
Yeah. Yep, that's my 5th. So my top 5 in summary: number 1, Josh Hamilton; number 2, Tony Conigliaro; number 3 is Thurman Munson; number 4 is Ted Williams; and number 5, Albert Chamberlain.
Nice.
There we go. Nice. What was your final list?
I did include Kurt Flood and not Ted Williams.
Makes sense.
My first was Conigliaro, my second was Flood, my third was Munson, my 4th was Hamilton, and my 5th was Boston.
Great Boston. Okay. There you go. You know, another good one. What if Jimmy Pearsall wasn't crazy?
He was good.
Yeah, he's another one I just thought of. Talking about
He
Williams
was
and
good.
Canigliaro and stuff. But no, I think I'm standing with my 5. But that was just another name I wanted to throw out there just popped into my head just now. So, there you have it. So that is our top 5 for today. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll do our NFL predictions for the first week of the playoffs, and we'll get you set for what to watch during the NBA weekend. A lot of games over the weekend today, tomorrow, and Sunday. And we'll close it out with some music and league and a quick update on the NHL. That's what's on tap the rest of the way. Back after this, the Gary Ayd Show here on the Cave.
Are you like me? You have health insurance, but you don't have dental insurance. Do you need to get to the dentist right away? Maybe you need an implant or some other major service. Well, I found a dental insurance plan that's just right for you. It's called Spirit Dental. Spirit Dental offers a $100 lifetime deductible, a huge network advantage. And here's the best part. There's no waiting periods. Yeah, that means you can call right now and have real dental insurance for you and your family tomorrow and get that immediate coverage you want. Spirit Dental has plans for just a few dollars a day, up to $5,000 annual maximum, and coverage for implants. Whatever age you are, the dental insurance you need is a phone call away. Now don't wait, and be sure to ask about Spirit's vision plan. Just a number, 800-631-9229, 800-631-9229. That's 800-631-9229.
Hey friend, life happens and you need money. What do? You call the special toll-free number we're about to give you. We will send you a link to your phone with details on how you can loan up to $5,000. Couldn't you use $5,000 to pay for your rent, pay grocery bills, get your car repaired, or whatever you need? It's up to you. We don't care. We're just here to lend you the money. And we'll lend people money with good credit or no credit at all. Of course, conditions apply. On the link we're going to send you. So if you $5,000 maybe as soon as next week, right now, we will text you a free link to details.
Welcome back to the Gary Ayd Show. I'm Rich Anselmo. Gary just stepped away for a stay cool a minute. Let's do an NHL update. 3 played last night. And one of the most exciting games of the night, Rangers Andre Miller tied the game at 1 with 1 second left to force overtime with Dallas. Adam Fox, 116 into overtime, put it away. Rangers get a great comeback win over the Stars, 2-1. Shesterkin won his 20th game this season, and the Rangers have points in 7 straight games. The news in Buffalo, not as good. The Sabres played extremely well against a strong Winnipeg Jets team. Kyle Connor scored the winning goal late in the third period. Winnipeg added an empty netter, beating Buffalo 4-2. Connor Hellebuck just made save after save after save, and the Jets win. In a rather uneventful game, Minnesota beat the Islanders 3-1. That covers your 3 local and state teams. Now, most interesting game of the night last night, real quick. You know, sailors in the 1700s often told tales about a mythical sea monster called a kraken that terrorized ships. That wasn't real. This kraken is. The Boston Bruins were undefeated at home. They had not lost a game at home all year. Seattle, on the 6th game of a road trip, went in and not just beat them, but shut them out 3-0.
Working in the Kraken.
This is a team on the road now, and their 6th game of a road trip, and shutting out the best team in hockey. Quite interesting.
You know what, Rich? might not be winning me over to the hockey aisle just yet, but it looks like you're winning over one fan. You're rooting for the hockey segment for the first time. I think your persistence is paying off.
See? Only one game involving the locals tonight, but they are far from local. New Jersey is playing in Anaheim.
By the way,
Place where they laugh at winter.
that's right. I think it's important. This is our station mascot. That is Toby. He visits quite regularly.
Yes.
Part of the food here. I don't know what he does in the morning, except for the Italian food.
Oh,
But he's here, and he's part of the crew. So there you have it. We got our own mascot here. Like, you know, I'm happy to hear that the Rangers are playing, because the Rangers, to me, even though I don't really like the sport that much, when they're like good and it's like around playoff time, they create a buzz of excitement in New York area sports. They're the only hockey team in the that. Even when the Islanders were good a year or two ago, it was kind of like a keep story. Oh, the Islanders are good. That's kind of cool.
yeah.
But like when the Rangers are good, it's like the Rangers. Like that's
When
what
the
you hear.
Rangers are good, it's on the back page.
Yeah, exactly. And like I like the buzz that creates, because what it does is it gets people watching other New York sports more heavily too.
Yeah.
Whenever one New York team, one of the teams, and the teams that drive it like that are the Rangers, the Knicks, the Giants, and the Yankees. When one of those is really good, it kind of drives interest in everything else going on at the same time. I have to say though, the Mets are getting there. Their fan base has really become
They are.
very potent. They're not quite there yet, but they're getting there. And I think the Yankees are helping them by just being boring.
Yeah. And the fact that their games are still interesting.
Yes.
They play each other. The Gardens are the place to be this year, with the Knicks playing as well as they are.
Yep.
The Rangers.
Yep.
The Garden's electric right now.
The best concert I've ever been to in my life happened to be at Madison Square Garden. I went in 2000. I can't remember if it was 16 or 17. I think it was 17. I went to see. It was right around Christmas, so it was a couple of weeks before Christmas. It might have been like around the middle of the month, like the 15th, 17th, somewhere around there. Was it 2 weeks before Christmas? I went to see Bob Seger at Madison Square Garden. Oh, what a show! And
Yeah, dude, that's fun.
it was so good. And the best part is, I was working in New York City at the time, about 20 blocks away. I worked on 18th Street, 6th Avenue. So I just
Oh, you were in Chelsea.
Yes, I was. Yes. So I just walked.
Love that.
Oh, it's wonderful. It is. It's so much less intense and crazy than like further up down.
Yeah.
I walked there with my wife. We went together, and my friend Phil met us. He came from a different direction. He did work further uptown. He was, I think, working in the Bryant Park area at that time. So anyway,
my favorite place
Bryant
in
Park.
the city. There's nothing better than getting up in the morning, grabbing a paper and a cup of coffee, and going to Bryant Park and people watch.
Yeah, I used to do that at Union Square, because that was close to where I worked.
Okay.
That's another good people watching location.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, so we go to this concert at the Garden, and we sat at the Chase Bridge. And to this day, I don't really understand why that's considered like a throwaway cheap section to sit. I love it there. You feel like you're at your own like private bar. I think it's like the best place to sit. Like no one's bothering you. You're not shoulder to shoulder with random people. Like it's kind of comfortable, and just the concert was so good. I mean, it was just very understated. No pyrotechnics, no crazy stage. It was Seeger, his guitar, his backing band, and just perfect focus. I mean, that's the thing about Bob Seger. If you listen to any of his songs live, and then you listen to the album version, you like almost can never tell the difference. Every single time he performs live, they sound exactly the same. He's an unbelievable musician.
The best one I saw there probably wasn't my best. The best one I saw there was Billy Joel. And I've probably seen him in more cities because of where I've lived.
Gotcha.
I've seen him in more cities than most performers, except for Burton Cummings, who's more of a person friend. So,
Understood. He's the dude, right?
yeah.
I
And that's a hoop streak.
Oh, that's good. Well, there you have it. So, all right, now let's get to our NFL. What do we got?
Okay, let's start with Saturday's game. Seahawks at Niners. Okay, I already know this.
Hard to imagine the Seahawks winning that game. I mean, I guess anything's possible. Yeah, that would be an upset, but I got the Niners winning that one.
No, everyone's saying with the rain, Seattle might have a bit of an advantage, but I don't buy it. It might help them a little defensively, but the Niners run the ball as well as anyone.
They do.
So if both teams play that game, it's not going to be that big of a deal. That's a Saturday game. Speaking of what we're going to watch at 4:15, the 8:30 game. Very interesting. Chargers and Jaguars. This is one of my favorite games of the week.
Mine too, actually. I really like this game a lot, and I have to be honest. I go back and forth with it. I have all week.
I have to.
I really don't know, and maybe it's one of the reasons I like it. I really don't know what to expect. Both teams have been so Jekyll and Hyde, up and down all year. Jaguars are playing, I think, better right now. But in the playoffs, when quarterback play matters the most, I know Trevor Lawrence has the talent and is much improved, but Justin Herbert's on a new level. I don't know. I'm going to go with the Chargers because I've liked them all year, but this is a toss-up. Yeah, I have a hard time picking this one.
I'm going with the Jags.
Okay.
It's kind of a wishful thinking. This would be the perfect time for them if the Chargers lose this game to bounce Bailey and get Herbert the support he needs.
Yep. That's a good
and
idea.
I'm just kind of hoping that happens.
There you go. And by the way, if that becomes an option, Sean Payton should consider any others, right? I mean,
no.
that's the choice, isn't it? I mean,
No,
that's,
I think he would jump it.
yeah, like the hell with this Arizona and Denver and Garbage. Like, no, I don't
Although he's talked to Arizona.
Yes. The Chargers' job is to fill.
Right.
Should it become available?
If they lose, I think it does.
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
Staley doesn't make many friends.
Well, doesn't seem like a friend making thing.
No, not really.
All right.
We have a triple decker.
Yeah. Bacon, ham, and turkey.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. Just give me some white toast.
Oh, yes. Start with the 1 o'clock game, Dolphins and Bills. You need to know who I'm picking.
No. Buffalo all the way.
In this game,
Well, yeah.
Your opinion on the Super Bowl or on the AFC title game, if it is Buffalo and Kansas City being held in Atlanta?
I think that's reasonable for, we knew that this was the way they were going to adjust to the whole situation being unfolded. And,
I just don't like it being in Atlanta.
Yeah, I mean, I guess to me,
neither team's a dope team.
Yeah,
I didn't like Indianapolis for that reason. I don't like Atlanta.
What were the other options? Because
the Steelers offered their place.
Yeah, well, because I guess the reason I like this is Atlanta is not going to create any likelihood of a home field for either team, whereas Pittsburgh,
Indianapolis would have.
It would have, and Pittsburgh would have for Buffalo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's what I liked about Atlanta is when I heard Atlanta, I was like, oh, that's random. And then I was like, that's exactly what it should be, random. If we're doing the neutral site
I just wish it were outside.
It opened. Yeah, I understand that. That would have been preferable. But the more
neither team's a dome.
No, they're not. The most important thing to me in this one was to make sure that it wasn't at a location that was a pseudo home location for either side. And I think that was achieved with this location. That's why I was more or less okay with it.
I don't know the history of Chiefs fans traveling, but you could have put this game in another country. The mafia would find a way to get there.
Well, there is that. There's nothing you can do about that. Their mafia is crazy like that.
They're like Steelers.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's true. Raiders fans used to be that way too.
Yeah.
Yep, that's right.
Okay, the midday game, you can consider 4:30 midday, is my second favorite game in this mess. Giants at Vikings.
See, I think this is going to be a close game. I'm picking the Vikings. I think that I think this is going to be one of those games where the Giants outplay the Vikings. They play more consistently and more stable. But the Vikings, because of their explosiveness, randomly hit on one or two big plays that the Giants don't have the offense to respond to. And I think the Giants lose in sort of a heartbreaking type of way where they grind it out. They grind it out. Maybe they're up like 17, 12 with 4 minutes to go. The Vikings hit a big play, like something like that. I think the Vikings break the Giants with some kind of big explosive play here. The Giants don't have the ability to respond to.
Going G-men, baby.
I hope you're right. Look, I want to be wrong here.
I hope I'm right too.
But
I'm a fan of the
no, I mean,
and again, you were talking about the Chargers and Jaguars, and you don't know their identity. I don't know the Vikings' identity.
Justin Jefferson.
Because they can look,
that's their identity.
But he doesn't get that many targets he throws it. I don't care.
Yeah.
He's only as good as his quarterback's going to be. I don't know his identity at all. I know the Giants' identity. I think the Giants are winning. Ain't no 61-yard field goal going to save him.
I think Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback.
He's good.
Yeah, I like him.
If he doesn't target Jefferson enough time, he has his little fits.
Well, I mean, yeah, you don't like that about Justin Jefferson, but to be devil's advocate for a second, why wouldn't you? I mean,
all day.
Yeah, I mean that's
the team won anyway. He should have gotten the hell.
I mean, I personally think
take the win.
Yeah, I mean, look, that was a bad look for Jefferson. I'm not defending it, but what I am saying is, if I'm the coach of the Vikings, I'm expecting and I'm coming up with pick plays or screens or misdirections
to get him open.
Because you can't just concede your best weapon to a double team.
Well, they kind of did in this game, and they didn't adjust to it at all.
Well, that's what I mean. That's bad coaching. Like that,
and I kind of wonder about that.
You just see that, like you have to know they're going to hard up. I mean, look how good he is. Of course, they're going to do that.
And this all goes back to my idea of I don't know who this team is.
Yeah. See, I
know who the Giants are, and I know they're not going to get out.
No, and I agree with you, which is why I say I think they're going to outplay the Vikings. But I think the Vikings, despite all their problems, have so much explosive firepower. It just has to bubble over once or twice in the game to make the difference. And I think that's what happens. I think the Giants,
if anyone can do that, they have one player in this game that can do that.
Right, and that's why I'm thinking the Giants are going to win the game, but the Vikings are going to finish with more points. It's going to be one of these.
I'll stay with the Giants. I really do think
I hope
it's
you're right.
A better coach team.
Oh, it is.
It's a well-designed team for what they want to do, and they know who they are. And I like them.
I don't disagree. They definitely know who they are. It's exactly the money. I just envision it being a difference maker. But like I said, hope I'm wrong. All right, what's the last one?
I was looking forward to this game for a while. Ravens and Bengals.
This game is interesting. Wouldn't this be just a spot for the Bengals where everyone's going to all sudden lose. Wouldn't that be very Steeler-esque in a game like that?
I don't think it's going to happen. Without Lamar Jackson, Tyler Huntley might not even play. I think that's tough. I think it's tough to go in anywhere with your third string quarterback.
Yeah.
Especially to Cincinnati.
Yep.
Which is great.
Yeah, Cincinnati is on my list of cities I want to go to. More so for baseball than football, but
both. I've seen both there.
so who you got in this game?
The neighborhood there. They're
like, terrible as in disgusting or terrible as in dangerous?
very. But I'm the Cincinnati chili and go to it.
Now, is chili one of those things? Is it like fried chicken where the worse the neighborhood, the better the chili?
Yeah.
It is. Because I don't really eat chili. That's why I was asking.
During the day. Yeah, I have the Bengals without question.
Yeah.
No
I do too.
quarterback, no win.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's hard to imagine that the Steelers win this game, but it would be just like the Bengals' history and the Steelers' history for somehow the Steelers to win.
What's the Ravens?
Oh, I keep saying the Steelers. I'm sorry, the Ravens. I keep saying they're Steelers. I don't know why I keep saying Steelers. They're not even in the playoffs. Yeah, I guess I can always think of those two teams together because they play so much alike. But no, I'm going with the Bengals. The Ravens aren't winning this game without Jackson. I don't know why I got the Steelers.
And I know it's
yes, I'm sure, and it's crushing his pocket too.
Heard an interview with him, and he wants to play so bad.
I'm sure he does. All right.
The Monday night game. And a Manning cast. Cowboys and Buccaneers.
This, to me, is the hardest game other than the Jaguars game to pick. Because the Cowboys are better, but the Bucs are playing better, and the Cowboys are playing horrible.
And are the Ghosts going to be out that night? Cowboys have Ghosts.
I don't know. I haven't spoken to the Ghosts yet. They haven't returned my calls. But I left a message, and all I heard was boo.
I'm
done. I don't know what to make of this one. My gut tells me that the Buccaneers are going to find a way to win here, but my eyes tell me that the Cowboys have been the better team all year, but the Bucs are playing better today. I'm going to move my nose, hold my breath, and go against my gut here and pick the Cowboys because they've been so much better all year, but I'm not going to be the least bit surprised if they don't win.
I picked the Bucs.
Okay.
I, too, will not be surprised.
There we
no
have
matter
it.
who wins this game.
It's funny.
I think this was my toughest.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I think the Jags game was a little tougher for me, but this one was hard. Well, this is interesting. What do we got? 3, maybe 4 games different?
Yeah.
How many? Is it 3? Is it 3 or 4?
I think 1, 2. Oh, wait a minute. We got 1 different, 2 different, 3 different.
3.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, we both have.
That's interesting. I mean, it's 40% fewer games, but that's probably the most we've had difference in a week all year.
Yes.
There we go. So the games we have different. You have the Jags, I have the Chargers. You have the Bucs, I have the Cowboys, and you have the Giants, and I have the Vikings.
Yes.
Yep.
And I didn't take that one lightly either.
Oh, that was a hard one too. A lot of these games were hard. I mean, I think this is going to be an interesting playoff weekend. I think there's a lot of games that can go a lot of different directions.
Yeah, the 2 easiest games to pick for
Cincinnati.
Yeah,
and then the Niners and
the Bills.
And the Bills. Yeah, so those 2 games.
Those were 3 easy games.
Yep. I agree.
Yeah, the other 3 were really tough.
Really tough. Let me ask you this to wrap this up. Of those 3 games, the Bills game against Miami, the Niners game against Seattle, and the game against what was the third one? The Niners. No, what was the third one? It was the Niners in Seattle, the Bills and the
Bills, Dolphins.
I know, and the Bengals and
Bengals, Ravens.
Yeah. Of those three, which one do you think is most likely to go against the heavy favorite?
Bills, Dolphins.
Really?
Yeah.
Even without Tua.
Yeah. Because it's a divisional game. And I think they're better at their other positions than the Ravens are at theirs. And they do have 2 game breakers on offense.
Understood.
You don't have to throw to either of them to have big plays.
That's true. That's a good point. I understand your argument. Just for the sake of variety, we could easily just say, yeah, I'm with you, because that's a good argument you just made. But just for the sake of variety, to throw another scenario out there, I'm going to go with the Niners and Seahawks.
Really?
Well, because of what you said, it's going to rain, it's going to muddy things up. This is a relatively unproven quarterback. If the Seahawks can basically try and contain the Niner run game, force that unproven quarterback to throw the ball a lot in less than optimal conditions in the playoff game, I think something stupid could happen. I don't think it will.
And in less than optimal conditions, that really does help. Seahawk pass defense is not very good.
Exactly. So, but I don't think there's any way.
Also,
I can't imagine it.
Yeah.
You're saying I'll go what?
Those 3 games are all division games.
They are. That's true.
Which make it really interesting. I don't think any one of the 3 scenarios, those games are going to happen. But how about the year with about 70%? Is that the NFL comeback player of the year?
Who's that? Geno Smith?
Yeah. 70% completion.
That's pretty high. It's epic.
Yeah. I mean, look, go back to our preview. You think this team to be in the tank with someone else quarterback. Yeah, they got from Denver. So relevant, I can't remember his name.
Oh man, no, that listen. All right, well there you have it. All right, well, good stuff. Let's take a break. We'll come back.
No, I mean the quarterback Seattle got from that.
I thought you meant they got a sent to them. I'm sorry.
In the trade.
Oh yeah. Was it Trevor Simeon?
No.
Okay, whatever.
I don't remember who, but Geno Smith outplayed Russell Wilson in a big way. That's got to be my comeback player of the year.
There you go.
Came back from a long way.
He sure did. All right, well let's take our last break, and we will come back and wrap it up with some news we can use and a couple games to watch. It's the Gary Ayd Show. Back after this here on the Coop.
Are you like me? You have health insurance, but you don't have dental insurance. Right away, maybe you need it or some other major service. Well, I found a dental insurance plan that's just right for you. It's called Spirit Dental. Spirit Dental offers a $100 lifetime deductible on huge network of dentists. And here's the best part. There's no waiting periods. Yeah, that means you can call right now and have real dental insurance for you and your family tomorrow and get that immediate coverage you want. Spirit Dental has plans for just a few dollars a month. Up to $5,000 annual maximum and coverage for infants. Whatever age you are, the dental insurance you need is a free phone call away. Wait, and be sure to ask about Spirit's vision. Here's the number: 800-631-9229. 800-631-9229. 800-631-9229.
Hey friend, life happens and you need money. What do? You call the special toll-free number we're about to give you. We will send you a link to your phone with details on how you can borrow up to $5,000. You can use $5,000 to pay for your rent, pay grocery bills, get your car repaired, or whatever you need. It's up to you. We don't care. We're just here to let you get money. And we'll let you get the money Terms and conditions apply, and you'll see those on the link we're going to send you. So if you need up to $5,000 maybe as soon as the next business day, call this number right now. We will text you a free link with details.
Money 7112 800 7112 7112.
All righty. We are back. And we got what's left. News you can use and a couple of games to watch tonight. One that I'm really interested in the NBA. I'm really curious to see. I think it was the Knicks are playing tonight. They're playing. Who is it? Is it Indiana?
Tell you. There were a couple of games tonight that intrigued me.
Yeah, there were a few.
The Knicks are playing at Washington.
At Washington,
playing the Wizards.
Yep. Okay.
The last Knicks game, Tyrese Halliburton had a real ugly fall, and he is going to be out at least 2 weeks.
Yes.
Which is awesome.
That is awesome.
On my list of things to watch, I have that Knicks game. I also have a couple other interesting NBA games this weekend. The second game of that doubleheader tonight, Nuggets and Clippers. Clippers have been a little better lately, and on a slight winning streak. They need to turn it around tonight. The rematch of the Bucks and the Heat tomorrow afternoon at 1. They played 2 nights ago. It can be a very interesting game. And football won't be in it yet. So Sunday night, if you're having 2 football games and you want something else, we got the 76ers and the Lakers.
That's a good game. I definitely will watch that one.
Be very interested to see that. 2 good NHL games. It's the Hockey Night in Canada doubleheader. NHL Network all their shows on Saturday night. Maple Leafs at Bruins at 7, Oilers at Vegas at 10. If you watch golf, you got the Sony Open all weekend.
Yep. Yeah.
And of course, 6 football games that dominate a lot of viewing.
I'm in football mode this weekend. Probably mixing in that Sixers and Lakers game, and maybe a Knicks game during the weekend too. But that I'm mostly in football mode this weekend. This is usually my favorite week of the football season. Is the first round of the playoffs because it's a good balance of quality and quantity usually. After this week, that's very thin on the quantity. The quality has to improve. But I like this week a lot in football because you kind of still got close to a full slate of games, but they're all good games. So
right,
I love this week in football. So this will probably be.
Got it. Oh yeah, it's one of the best ones.
But I will mix in that Lakers game and probably tonight's next game as well.
Yeah, and of course, on that Clippers game.
Yep. Absolutely. All right, we got like 22 minutes, a couple minutes here, maybe 4 minutes. Got a loser note.
Okay, let's hit things real quick. Jaylen Brown is going to miss a week or 2 with the Celtics. That it was a little more serious than they had thought. In some interesting news, the Heat suspended Wayne Dedmon 1 game for launching a massage gun.
You can't make this stuff up. I'm guessing that's the first suspension.
Better than this.
I'm assuming that's the first suspension in NBA history where the player was suspended for a massage. Oh.
He didn't do it on purpose. He smacked him because he was frustrated. Got into a heated discussion on the bench. He walked away, smacked the massage gun, and the smack launched it over fans in the court side.
Oh my God.
Into the middle of the court.
That is so funny.
He was just setting up their offense a half court set.
So funny.
That's great.
All right, what else? What else we got? We got more.
Okay, Derek Carr said goodbye on
Yeah.
Raiders.
Yep.
Still a Raider, but he took to Twitter. He said, "It breaks my heart. I didn't get an opportunity to say this to so many people in person." He once said that if I'm not a Raider, I'd rather be at home, and I meant it, but I never envisioned it happening this way. That fire burning inside me to win still rages. Raiders don't feel the same way.
Josh McDonald's over there. So.
Yeah. Cameron's success or lack of is not all on him. Since he came into the league, I mean, they've allowed the most points in the NFL. The offense looked horrible with McDaniels. Horrible.
They were very good last year. They were very good last year without Devontae Adams.
Right.
They were supposed to be better. Yeah, they really should have.
If the Jets don't go for this one,
that's the guy I want if I'm a Jet fan. You want to talk about a fix? Go get that guy. Now, is he, a top shelf quarterback? No, but he's damn good, and he's a million times better than the trash he's out there right now. A lot better.
Yes.
Right.
And I had a breakdown on some of the kids in the quarterback draft this year. Of course, we don't have the time to do
we'll
that
hit that
now, but
we'll hit that next week.
I want to get into that next week because I'll tell you what, anyone who thinks any of these are here, they all scare me for different reasons.
Yep.
And I'd rather go with someone proven. And I think that a Jets team is ready to win.
Yep.
Derek Carr's a hell of an ad. Of course, now the Raiders can save $30 million by trading and releasing him by February 15th.
Right. So Derek
and
Carr
they're going to look at saving the $30 million.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, the Derek Carr sweepstakes is officially going to be in full swing in a couple of weeks here, so we'll keep an eye on that. All right, well that does it for us. Good week of shows. We'll see you again on Monday. Enjoy the games, everyone. We'll see you then at the Gary Ayd Show here on the Cave.